flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you do a roll call, please?
Devon.
Present.
Gruber. Here. Rochelle. Yes. Manning. Yep. Purdue. Here.
All right. Now to the Open Meetings Act, have proof of publication and of the meeting notice here, also posted in multiple different places. Everybody have a chance to read through the minutes of the last meeting?
Make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes. Purdue.
Yes.
Yes, I'm Gruber. I apologize. Purdue and then Gruber.
Yes.
Rochelle. Yes. Dillon.
Yes.
Sorry, let me know what
All right, next is, we get a motion to approve the agenda as it stands.
So moved.
Second? Roll call?
Purdue.
Yes.
Rochelle. Yes. Manning. Yep. Gruber.
Yes.
Yes. All right, we'll go ahead and open up for our public comment period. As always, if anybody comes forward, we'll have 3 minutes. State your name, address. Go ahead, make it the other time again. Go ahead and open up this time for that. Last call. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public comment period. Next agenda item, we will move to discuss an act on the comprehensive plan update. I suppose at this time, Nate, just have Martin Klein come up, discuss where we're at.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, we brought you several pages, and I will reiterate because we've found a couple things. Okay. Keith Marvin, Marvin Planning Consultants, David City.
John Shepard, Marvin Planning Consultants, David City.
I'm used to being on this side all the time. Anyway, like I said, I want to emphasize that what you've got in front of you is a draft. We've already found a few things that need to be tweaked. There's some things in here that need to be added as well. So this is an ongoing document that will be added to over time until we get to the final comprehensive plan. So one of the things, I'll dive into this a little bit more detail, but one of the things I guess I would like to discuss and see how everybody would like to approach this is right now, looking at the surveys that are out there, we've had 64 surveys answered at this point in time. I don't know if you've got any hard copies that have come into the courthouse at all. Okay. One of the things I was thinking about doing, John and I were talking about this, is we were just out at the state planning conference and spent some time talking with Lisa Hurley a little bit, and her office has actually helped us get the word, offered to help get the word out on some things. So what I would like to do is, if you guys are all right with that, is to reach out to her and help put the word out there in a more, to all her membership and that, and trying to connect with different communities. If I understand right, the York paper is now a Lee Enterprise?
There's no whatever else the Journal Star basically.
Yeah, that's Lee. So the chances of us getting any free publicity is slim and none. So we need to figure out what we want to do, if we're going to put an ad in there, and the problem is, when do we put it in and who will see it? I know that our readership in David City has gone way down since Lee has bought the paper. So we might be better off just trying to use organizations like Lisa Hurley's group and that to push this out. I can also work real closely with Connie Brown over in Henderson. Connie's a good friend and a client, so I can reach out to her to push it out to her people as well, so that we can try to get more people to answer the survey.
I guess when did the survey start or go out?
I'll look real quick.
Because I thought we were gonna walk through that before that.
I thought we sent it, did I send it through you?
I don't remember.
Okay. Okay.
So that's this morning when I saw that on Melanie's thing, I was a little perturbed that
Well,
the survey launched and we haven't even walked through it.
okay, that's my fault. I thought we had done some stuff, because usually my goal is to run it by everybody before we do anything with it. So that's on me. I
We
apologize.
discussed that last time we were doing. And
Yeah.
nobody objected at that point.
I thought anybody else, I thought we would walk through that.
I don't understand
So,
It's like quick ran through the one today and there's some stuff there's definitely stuff I'd like to have added, and some of it is kind of, I don't know.
get
I was
those
under the
other,
impression we get an email and then we go through.
Yeah.
well, if you've got the other stuff, the other questions, there's things that we can fit into the town hall meeting and in focus group meetings, if we can do that as well, to get input from those directions. So, because the other thing I want to talk about besides the surveys is the town hall meetings, and when would be a good time to do that. I won't even pretend to know what you guys are looking at right now for starting planning and how long that's going to be going on in the county, but I try to avoid planting. I always tell people I try to aim for rainy days, but
Yeah, I would say we definitely, I'd say already we're late May at the soonest at this point with field work now,
okay.
unless anybody else. But I want to go back to the survey. I mean, is this,
That's fine.
Since it's launched, is that thing baked?
It does not like us changing it at this point in time since other people have answered,
Did you guys see the survey at all?
so.
Was it even located at?
Well, I didn't know until I saw Melanie's article this morning on Facebook.
Oh. So,
That's right, I'm really struggling how we're proceeding.
was it launched through the county's website or?
It went through our website, but I don't remember if we're tied into your website yet or not.
It's on the survey monkey.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what were some of the, I guess, questions that you had concerns about? We can watch those.
Well, I guess there's stuff I thought we were gonna walk through them and be able to make edits, whatever. I'm really feeling like a lot of this is just, here's where our cookie cutter is, here you go.
No. The surveys probably is more cookie cutter than anything else that we do, to be honest with you. And we got into a rotation of getting these going out, and I must have overlooked one getting sent out. Like I said, it's on me. So,
What was on it?
Well, it probably, just for me, quick going through it, probably took about 15 minutes just to scroll as fast. I mean, anywhere from economic, there's
Sure, 100 questions. 100
no, it's
questions.
30-some questions.
there's more than 30.
Well, 30 different groupings, and then you
And then
have
there's like 10.
different things within the
Oh,
grouping.
300. Okay.
But what I will tell you is that I look at is John and I have gone through this back and forth because he says ours is too long. We're now up to 65 surveys and we've got a completed rate of 58. So we're getting 90% completing it from start to finish.
And I tell you, the 65, we've had larger counties where we don't get 50 responses, especially when your newspaper's a chain newspaper. We get our best responses when we still got a local newspaper. Clay County, the newspaper out of Sutton, was great to work with, but they're local. It's really hard with Lee. They just are not cooperative. They don't have the overhead for it. At this point, you get over 50 and you're a success. So you only have up to go from here.
Just to give you an idea, Harlan County, which we put out there with just postcards, they've gotten 206 responses in Harlan County in the last 2.5 weeks. Howard County has done 120. Greeley County is 112. Johnstown and Nemaha County, and that's purely
That's fine. I'm just want to express my frustration that we didn't have a chance.
I-
That was I thought when we hired you guys that we were supposed to that we were supposed to have something.
So, like I said, all I can do right now is apologize for that, and
Because we just started this process where it feels like the wheels are off.
now, this whole thing was off the wheels because we were told to step back and look at the solar before we did anything else. So, we've been trying to push forward on the comp plan with direction to look at something else and provide information for that. So, that was at the direction of the county board.
All right.
Just to follow up on Aaron's question, so where is this survey housed? The only way people know about it is to go to your website where they've read Melanie's article.
Well, we will work on trying to figure out how to get this out there better.
At this time.
Yeah.
And so there's no way that you can see progress of it. It's all in your guys' house until it's done, or then you guys will. present the
We don't
results.
even look at the results of the survey until it's done. Because we don't want to sit there and say, here's what's happening and what we're seeing. We don't want to skew it one way or the other.
Because that's, some of the questions on there I would say are definitely trying to skew,
Are you talking about renewable energy?
whether it be renewable, and there's even.
All we're
some-
asking is how people feel about it.
Well,
That's all we
even,
ask.
there's even some on there from the standpoint of how developers are paying for water lines, whatever else. And there's some of it even as I'm looking at going, yeah, but it's gonna, if I put an answer myself and I own property in multiple places, I'm gonna be, I don't know.
Well, and that's part of where the purpose of the survey, that some of the questions are off to the side to see how people are paying attention and how do these things vary and compare county to county. That all of those are relevant to the planning process, where you're through it. It may be more relevant in the urbanizing areas versus the more rural. Some are more relevant in the areas that don't have as much development. But some of that is that you throw something out there to see that people aren't just, filling in dots. It's a process that we've tweaked over time. And frankly, with this just getting started here, and part of what we wanted to see was, where do we go from here? You've already got 16 responses with minimal public relations output. Generally, these are timed so that they may finish up around the time of your town hall. If that's going to come Memorial Day or right after, you still got 2 months to get the word out.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
So, and quite frankly, with the questions, we look at everything with a grain of salt. We're not going to skew what we talk about. You guys have got, when we take this and we put it into a document that talks about goals and policies, you folks are going to have the final say on what those are and how those get worded. This is just like John said, trying to gather some basic information. Where we're going to dig into the weeds is when we get into the town hall meetings and the focus groups. We're going to talk to people we're going to talk to producers, we're going to talk to all kinds of different people to get their insights into the county.
I just want to be sure that, I'm sure it's costing the county something to do this. What we're paying is we're actually getting our money out of it. So that's something I'm definitely a little concerned about. All right, what is next?
Okay, I was wanting to talk town hall meetings, you said end of May, early June.
Unless somebody else thinks any different, I'm not writing my opinion.
So, and what we'll do is we're going to work with Nathan to figure out where they are, how many I don't remember off the top of my head how many we said. And I know there were multiple, but we're going to spread those into the county as much as we can, where we can get facilities. I'm assuming we'll have 1 or 2 here in York and probably 2 on the edge.
You're
One on
thinking
each edge.
upwards of 4?
Yeah,
What do you typically try to
like for turnout wise, what do you typically see at town
It
hall?
is all over the place. You're supposed to have one this week, and you're expecting 100, maybe, but we don't know.
Plan from 5 to 50, and it depends. Most of the counties, we're only doing one town hall, but you've got a growth county here. A lot of our other counties don't have growth options.
Yeah.
And so we get fewer people, but we have to, Keith has come up with a facilitated process that scales pretty good and focuses so that we can have a really good conversation with a small number of people. And then like,
Or a large group, and
Yeah.
without people taking over the meeting.
like Clay County, we had that during the summer, it was a beautiful August night. I didn't think we got anybody. We had a room full of people and we had to ramp that up on the fly.
Now, are these meetings something that you guys just come in and it's a whiteboard and you guys facilitate, or how are they structured?
We will facilitate it, and we vary the questions from place to place. We get our standard questions in advance. If you want to change a few things, we can do that. We do it so that we try to stay as positive on these questions as possible.
He does, I don't.
Do you have a guide for what those would be prepared or anything?
Yeah,
look at
we've got a
nowadays?
standard set that we will work from.
Can you provide that information to us and maybe
Yes.
a little sooner, even like this? I would have appreciated having this ahead of time to look at, but, and for this town hall, I feel it'd be important to understand what kind of questions they're asking. That might help, do we need to do it now to keep the process moving, or is it something that we should wait until more producers would be available? But I'm
You
kinda-
need a good, I like a little more time to get the word out. The Keith will do it on the fly, but I found, especially again with the newspaper, you need to take the time to get the word out so people know that it's happening.
I would say that probably, but I would like to see those
No.
questions or what.
And that won't-
what you're
and that
gonna
won't hold up the
facilitate
rest of
sooner
our-
than later.
No, it doesn't. So, and one of the nice things is, probably the worst situation we walked into on a town hall meeting. John took me along down to Fairbury for Jefferson County last summer. We did it on a Wednesday night. The assessor had released all the new valuations on Monday. We had people coming, looking to cut our heads off.
Well, by the end of the May still have that here, so.
The cards just went out here last week.
Okay. Well, what I was getting to is, we told them there's a process for that, to deal with it. And this was not part of that process. And we actually kept it on track and got the answers to our questions and moved on. We lost 2 people because they were mad because we wouldn't listen to them.
But there's some of that I do think, as a young family in this county, that I think even our tax structure should have been part of the questionnaire, the survey. Because there are decisions that are made by young people based off this tax structure of the county that totally, should direct some of this in my mind. Whether I want to remodel or add on to one of my buildings, or even looking at property in other states, because it's not one county but the state as well.
Yeah.
So I really think that should be part of the county development
Okay?
and those questions.
Part of where we ended up with that example out in Jefferson County, we didn't talk about the tax burden, but that also informed our discussion on economic development and the way the county needs to be involved in helping people start new businesses that are going to spread out the tax load. We discussed, part of the discussions was your county is funded by industry, and if you're going to let people cut up acreages out in the county, each of those acreages is a net drain on your tax base. The sheriff has to go out there, the fire department has to cover those people, the school buses have to go out there. Acreages don't pay the way. It's the working farms and industry that pay the way. That led to some pointed discussions on what direction the county wanted to take. Do you want to preserve farmland, or do you want to be more laissez-faire and let people do what they want? Also, the way we structured that, if we've got enough people that we have small groups, we'll split into tables, and then you get different things out of different tables. And we had what you say, that, I mean, we had some that were very pointed and other folks that were very positive. It's, you never know.
And the process was set up in such a way that they could talk about taxes, but we just told them, this is not the only topic we're gonna discuss tonight. But the process actually allowed them to discuss it as part of the process. So,
Yeah, you let people talk about what's in their heart. The other thing with the facilitated discussion too, I don't have problems speaking in a large group, but a lot of people do. So if we can keep it in manageable areas and then try to facilitate it so we don't have somebody like me dominating the discussion, we can hopefully get other folks to come and express their opinions. One size doesn't fit all.
Typically, how long do you let the survey run in the town halls?
It
How do you
depends.
usually do that outline?
we will use the town halls as a final push.
So a survey will be done at that point?
It'll be coming to an end, but we use that as the final push location to tell people if they haven't answered it, here's their chance to answer it. We'll leave it open for like a couple weeks more. So if people want, and we've seen actual spikes. The nice thing about SurveyMonkey is we can actually see when people answer surveys, when we get peaks and valleys.
I would doubt we would see it, but how protected is SurveyMonkey from a general bot being set up and answering these?
Well, you got two choices with SurveyMonkey. No matter what you buy, you pay for it. You either keep it open, or you tie it down so you can only answer one person can answer from one IP address. So what we do is we start seeing similar answers coming through. We'll go search. We can search by IP address. So we can start figuring out, so if we get 20 people that are answering the same question, the same IP address, we can discount some of that. Or first thing we'll do is go find that IP, where that IP address is assigned to. So if it's a library, that makes sense. If it's somebody's home, then we've got to figure out what we're going to do with that data.
We haven't had a lot of problems with that. We've spot checked those. Sometimes you can tell where one spouse might have asked the other spouse to fill in the same answers, but it tends to balance out.
I'm just thinking statistically, we're not going to have, I mean, it wouldn't take very much to be able to skew the results.
And that's,
In all reality, the bot, I could see it wouldn't take somebody 10 minutes to create a bot to go in and even they could probably
It's smarter than I am, but.
Yeah.
randomly generate IP addresses to dump that, but just
Yeah, well, we watch all that and make sure if we start seeing some things, we can actually start, we'll see things by how many people are answering the same question the same way. And we flagged that. We don't, I guess the survey is important, but we don't put all of our eggs in that basket. We put as much into that, as much information as far as what we see in the data, as well as what we hear in town halls and focus group meetings, and from you folks as well.
it's not a random sample survey.
To do a random sample anymore, it's going to be very, very pricey to control it. It's going to be, it'd be probably, last I knew, the last planner I knew that did it was Orville Scare, and he was charging $40,000 for it. And that was the early 2000s.
And nobody answers their phones anymore, so.
So what we'll do is I'll get those questions, our typical questions. You guys are free to modify them any way you want. A lot of times on the focus group meetings, when we do those, we have about 5 or 6 questions that we write up for each group, depending on who they are. So if they're housing people or realtors, we'll have housing-related questions. But those are just there in case the conversation doesn't go a natural direction. So we want to listen to what they have to say. The same for economic development, the same for producers, everything. Just in case that conversation dies, we've got a few questions to prompt.
If I may, Aaron. Just, and this, I guess, question for the board and for both of you. there may have been some honest, maybe miscommunication between us as the survey will not be able to talk about that. We're saying, sending questions to them. Is it something that it would be worth considering about it, so the board also be involved in some communication, so more direct contact with the board? Is that something, we could confirm more of that, just so there's maybe less to go around in case survey can get.
I think it was like for the documents and stuff, so it was.
And it would be beneficial if there was more direct conversation, as long as it obviously provides a forum.
Yep.
If we just share, if I share your contact, would that be
Yeah.
okay for the board?
I think that would be optimal, yeah.
Okay. We should do that, I was wondering, make sure.
And I would have, this, Daniel and Andy, didn't you guys, the commissioners also kind of participate as a dual committee with these hearings, if I remember correctly?
In some of them,
Yeah.
correct,
Okay.
yeah, there was a discussion when this first kicked off on how that joint committee would be, and it was decided that it would be the full zoning board and the full board.
I just, yeah, to prevent redundancy might as well, instead of later on trying to go through it.
So as we get into the meat of this whole document, more than we got here, we'll probably want to schedule some meetings where we can sit down around the table. Still have to be open to the public, but when we start getting into things, we'll bring out maps, we'll bring out markers and stuff like that. I still play with the markers and stuff because people feel a lot less committed to an answer if we have markers versus we come in here with a map that's land use saying, here's what we're going to do.
I think that'd be really good.
So, as I said on the document, this is a draft. We've already noticed a couple things that I know there's some formatting that needs to happen as well.
Some of that's where we'll add additional data as we go through this, that we cite. Once we do have the survey results, we'll go back in and discuss them in context and add pictures when it's green out.
Yeah.
We tend to avoid winter pictures. And these aren't all the chapters, obviously.
No.
There's several chapters to go.
Yeah. If I may make one more comment, I'm actually going to get too much. Just an update for the board because people involved. Morning, these guys brought this tonight early because I believe there was this comments made last couple weeks about we haven't seen much update. I remember these guys at the zoning meeting last week. We read that to them and hey, there's some piece concerned that has very much done. I believe these guys brought some just to show there has been work being done. Also, that's why it's only currently with the board is it is not a publicly available document. So they're trying to have multiple drafts and send it out to then head it here. That's why there's also not coming out right now. So just for everybody's awareness.
When we get closer to the end and you folks are good with it, then we'll start putting it up on the project website so the public can see it. It's not going to go up there without your guys' blessing. That one I will vouch for and I will remember.
I guess next we'll discuss the dates. Go over some dates, late May, I'll go over the town halls.
Is that something we want to wait? I mean, do we want to try and schedule them now, or do we want to wait?
I think maybe wait a little bit, see what the weather's looking like and stuff.
And if we get pushed into a wet.
If we get into the middle of April, that still gives us plenty of time to get the word out. And what we'll do is we'll put some posters together and get those scattered about the county as well. That'll give us some time to get locations and times set up. And it's up to you folks how you want to do it. I've had some success. A lot of times we will go 5:30, 6 o'clock because we figure that people, if they get home after work, but if they get home after work, they're not coming back out. So we try to do it that early. We've actually done some around in some communities where we might pick up some older farmers or retired farmers and do it over coffee too.
If you're doing multiple town halls, we might do a mid-afternoon for folks who have time during the day, and then do an evening for folks who have to work too. That's an advantage.
Same day.
Same day.
Same day, and you know, we're only an hour from home here, so it's pretty easy to get to. You've got more options, but we're gonna rely on, you know when your neighbors would tend to come out. So, because like we said, we don't know, sometimes we get 5 people, sometimes we get 50.
I will tell you, the city of Grand Island, John was involved in these.
Oh, gosh.
This is the city of Grand Island, okay, 50,000 plus people. We had 3 town hall meetings and 3 consecutive nights. We had a total of 9 people show up. Total. 3 people showed up to all 3 of them.
They wanted to make sure they knew what we were up to.
We did do a scheduled one on a January date, and we actually got about 40 people out. That was probably the most disappointing I've ever seen for a community on a town hall meeting.
Again, it's corporate newspaper, it's hard to get the word out. So that's one thing with the dates. If we can, you know, Lisa Hurley has offered to get the word out to her crew, but then we got everybody else that needs to know about these things.
I could be wrong, but I anticipate we probably have fairly high pay. But there's a
Yeah.
couple of them.
I think we've been a couple summers.
Yeah.
Some postcard.
That'd be great. We love having people there. It's easier for us.
Yeah, that's correct. We don't stick it in the back. Don't stick with that county stuff, man. Take one and take some buckshot in the butt.
So,
Yeah, tell Andy to have a.
my intent is not to sit here and go through this tonight.
Yep, no, I was just quick skimming it and.
Yeah.
Though if you take it home, if you see errors, obviously it's in work, but like if we're referring to a town that's not in your county or something, let Nathan know, he'll let us
Or
know.
you'll have my email, you can email me.
There's always something that sneaks through. So, but that's why you get the draft now, so we get it right for the, down the road.
I'm pretty sure, except for Aaron, maybe, was you been on this long enough when so nobody's been here when the first, drew up the first plan, so how do we go forward updating that book? Does that happen after the survey?
Well, we're working on
Yeah,
that.
that's all, this is all part of that.
Okay.
You'll have there's about 13 to 14 chapters to this plan. And you've just got a handful of them.
Yeah, this
The
is
meat
what-
is still to come.
This is working up to natural resources, hazard mitigation, land use is the big one. And then
Energy.
transportation, yeah. So there's more to come, but this is what we've been working on, that background stuff.
So,
And I would assume, is there, I mean, I know reading through here and the survey and stuff, is there also a rather large emphasis on employment?
yes,
Employees available?
there will be,
Well, some of that data is no longer available, but,
Yeah. you're early enough.
yeah, we're early enough that's been part of the federal budget cuts. They're not doing stuff for the non-metro counties they used to. But we've got fairly, 2000, I think we got 22 data we can start with. Some of that's in here already, but again, depending on emphasis that we come out with, we can add to that.
And that's one of the things that we'll also reach out to Lisa on, because she, in her role, she's probably got more data from different sources than we do. We can put some more meat into this once we start sitting down with her and going through some things.
Yeah.
Making sure we're moving along. We at least want to try to get location set, so Nathan or whoever can be reaching out saying, hey, we don't have the dates, but start gathering some information on where, and maybe some feedback from them on dates that the site will be available. Good with that.
Gonna say,
So we started with York. right?
Yeah. If you're gonna go west to Henderson, the school has a really nice place inside the school if we can use their lunch area. I did town hall meeting there the first comp plan we did out there.
I think like York, Henderson, Benedict, Waco, McCool. 5. So graphically, everybody in their own spot.
I mean, Waco and York might be close enough to justify one.
And I believe it's like, New York, like, what we did there. A certain part of the county or that is from other one.
We've had good luck in fairground buildings. People see that as a neutral site.
I'd be kind of going 1 in York, and if they can't make it to that one, they've got 4 other opportunities too. That might be right.
So you're thinking York, Henderson, Benedict, McCool? And Waco?
Possibly Waco. If you want to go one.
Maybe Benedict or Waco. If they're gonna interest, they're gonna come in yours. I would think. We've had one matches there. We got a good turnout of 5, so.
Yeah, any places that would be available in that late timeframe. Make sure they want to work with us.
Well, that may dictate a lot, because depending on when schools are going to start graduations. Well, the only good news is it's going to be during the week instead of the weekend.
End of May, they're probably all wrapped up right there.
Like I said, during the weeks, we have on week 9. That's good. That's good. We'll make sure we have one
They're
here.
going to take care of lining up. At least that way, hopefully next meeting we can set dates and know where we can go.
You guys know what the whole board that each of these town hall meetings have you ever?
They can split it up amongst themselves.
Think of the same commissioners that you're probably.
Yeah, it will be better if you could not have more than 2 at each one, just because you don't have to necessarily advertise.
We're gonna publicize the meetings, but you don't want to accidentally have forums.
What would the quorum be for this, where it's the whole zoning and county is still 3? Or is that?
Yeah, it's 3. Now, there is a part of the statute that typically says that you, a chance meeting somewhere, it doesn't count, but we don't want to give anybody an opportunity to.
I mean, if it was just public comment and no decision making, or comment on decision making, we know, is that still
You just don't want the appearance.
appearance? Gotcha. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Even if it's complete access, it does start the workflow, so you just need to work out.
Gotcha.
And we want people to feel that they can speak freely.
Because we actually want you and the county board to be participants in these meetings as well, not just the observers. If we get news media there, I usually make them try to get involved too.
Otherwise, you have to open meetings at posted,
Yeah.
follow the agenda, all of that.
And I mean, it could be, I'm not saying you do all of them, but if there's one you think is going to be larger than another's.
If you advertise that they may all be in attendance at one that's a chance, do we still have to post the open meetings, or do they have to open up the meeting, or?
Don't know if I had, but maybe let, got, would tell me. try to notify ahead of time there's some actions and discussion going. They should be okay not to that, so everybody else will come in. As long as they don't actually go to that, so they don't do anything.
Well, the whole meeting's open.
Right, yeah, right. But I like you guys to just notify, that I will be there if I should have, but I'll double check that. So,
But we just be there just in the seats, correct? Yeah.
Generally, we like to have folks on tables where they
Okay.
can sit and talk. Right?
Yeah, what we try to do is we try to put people in groups of 8 and 10 if we get that many people. So what you do is we have round tables with rectangular tables where you might have, if you get 100 people to show up, you'd have 10 tables with 10 people. Ideally.
You can get a little office.
Yeah, I would love if you'd do a quick synopsis of how you see these going, your plan, just like that, how you want to have it set up, your basic questions. I think we can keep this process moving a lot quicker than going through it all at a meeting like this.
Yeah, get that sent out.
Yeah.
We have that information, makes sure we want those assessments.
Okay.
Any other? No, go for it.
I guess piggybacking off that, how do you guys want to, or do you want to continue to look at these guys? Do you want to have, direct contact, just kind of setting up, you like, we want to have a sort of scheduled plan, hey, guys, time you like some blank areas, what would you guys like to have?
It would next time, I want to see the questions that would be asking at the town
And so
hall.
what would be next time, what would you do with the meetings, or what would you like to do? I guess that's the thing. we
Five
can
days a
do.
month.
I'd say our next,
To set the date.
yeah, to set the dates and then to go through this, and then when you change, because that's been already be down.
Well,
And keep
and
them up against it, and we have our,
ideally, you get a month to look at this, and then a month from now, we can go through the comments that you find, the questions that you have. A lot of times, we like to do that, give it to you instead of us sitting here reading to you.
No, I would prefer, yeah, come with questions of what we want to look at more in depth.
Yeah.
The survey that on or how the best way to get information out.
No.
I know you said this is a
Because
draft.
everybody tries to get information all different ways anymore. You know, you got Daniel over there, he's a finger man, he's getting it through his phone, you know, and we got, in the back, we're gonna read the paper, self-included, you know. So, how do you, where's the best?
Hit all the demographics.
Right.
Well, if you want, are you talking about how to look at this stuff?
No, just in general, to get for the community to see the survey.
Oh, okay.
You know, newspaper, there's, I don't know, it don't even show up some days a week, so you can't count on it. And,
Yeah. You know, I've subscribed to North Platte, Scotts Bluff, and one other one, Columbus. And I subscribed to them with the idea that they only do print on certain days, and the rest were e-editions. The e-editions have not gone away, they're now the Omaha World Herald. It's like, what am I paying for? That's all leave.
right, right.
So, to Carl's point, do we have to make a motion to send the postcards? Because I feel like if we wait till April
Let
to send postcards, we're too late.
me take a look at some of that. I'll talk to Nathan a little bit and get you some information between now and the first of the month. That way you can have some dialogue before the meeting if you have to. Just get an unofficial consensus.
I like that idea with the postcard, to be honest with you. That way everybody's got one, nobody can cry wolf. Maybe we'll get a better turnout. Probably not, but.
It's hard to say.
But like we can say, everybody was notified,
Right.
everybody there all was
Right.
that letter wants to get the dates to do a postcard with the survey and the date. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that's what it's.
Maybe
That's what I would.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's say I have a mock postcard of locations, dates, obviously they won't be set, but we see the format, have the survey.
Where you can get the survey.
Like I say, then we're on the base landing page website.
So is that something that?
We'll do all that.
Okay. So yeah, that would be an item for the next meeting, and then anything that you can share digitally, and that's what I was gonna ask on this. I know it's a draft. Is that something we can get electronic to make comments on, or how do we give feedback?
We usually keep those hard copy, but you can mark them up and scan them as PDF. And
Or, well, I mean, if it's just going to you guys, I don't
the
have a
problem is
problem.
that they get out that way, and then we got multiple versions rolling around with new stuff.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, if I do a PDF, I do everything on here, I mark everything up on this thing. I don't do this anymore.
Mhm. But that's what you're asking us to do.
I know, that's why.
Okay,
That's why.
just making sure I understood
But,
that right.
John and I sometimes have varying opinions, so,
Yeah.
but I mean, if we do send it out, I would ask that it stays internal until we get all the comments put in.
I think one of those, I don't know what county has, if they can share monitoring, but I think like it's gonna stay inside of a. That's probably.
Okay. And I'll also send you the link to the survey. That way it's,
Just send the link to the project website.
yeah, we could do that.
Something
And
we
people
can
can
offer
go
there.
right there. And I can probably, we probably have a QR code that I can send you to, so if people are that savvy, they can use the QR code to go to the survey.
And Nathan or either of you guys, is there any expectations for us as a group that we're supposed to be doing something other than overlooking, looking these over, making comments?
Not at this point.
That's your job.
Okay. Are you expecting?
You know, if there's something in the housing or the economic section that you don't see, that you see that we maybe missed, or you know of something, let us know so we can dig into it. Because we're only using the sources that we know of to our advantage. That's why we're gonna reach out to Lisa as well. I'll probably have to ask Nathan to send one over to her so she can review the economic section, please, in the housing.
And you'll share anything that Lisa has to add
Yes.
back with us?
Yep.
Well, this morning, it'll be a question of my perception of how the two village revenue council is basically you guys are representative of how we should do this with the whole county community. These guys are basically, okay, we're gonna do this, we'll go with that, we'll like this to direct, it's kind of this direct, and kind of do it. Like I said, this, you guys rights of the county community, that's good. That work.
That's kind of my understanding.
That's kind of my
Survey, I
understanding.
kind of work share out.
We put everything together, and you guys give us feedback.
So this part, I'd like to have a look over this.
And John noticed that the history chapter section is real weak, and he's our history buff in the office, so he's going to polish that up.
I read a whole chapter on that, but keep going, let's use a page.
All right.
That's all I got.
And again, I do apologize for the survey screw up. We'll earn your trust.
All righty. I think, unless somebody else has anything else, we'll go ahead and move on.
I put it as discussing that for 60 times, but you guys make some motion to continue or something like that, just to make sure there's not
In terms of,
continue that motion to continue this next meeting. Something, I just, since it's discussing that.
Sure.
I put it there just in case they actually continue. But probably do something like that, just to use it.
I'll make a motion to continue after this comprehensive plan for the next meeting.
Second.
roll call.
Gruber.
Yes.
Dude.
Yes.
Herschel. Yes. Hank.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you,
Can I
Jeremy.
get you some stuff? go on and get some information to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
So next announcements, discuss next meeting. We just want to still tentatively plan on that third.
What are you guys doing?
As I stated, it's a little windy about it.
That's Nebraska.
21st.
I was outside all day on my side-by-side picking up electric fence, so
Oh,
I'm a little windburned.
you're getting ready to start equipment out in the field.
My wife's busy calling, doing
I'll
that.
see you probably 21st.
I would say we just tentatively with it right now.
I haven't seen Bay yet. I haven't gone to the valley yet in Butler County. See Big Bay.
Just clarify that.
Which one? Case? Yeah, he's gone through it. I'm searching with it. Nathan's about it. I sent it to Nathan, he's about a
Well,
fourth.
especially if we're gonna go like that.
So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Keith,
Yeah.
you guys do the invoice on the 21st.
I've got that on my calendar already.
Great.
So,
Go to the survey.
That's the reason you guys all might got some coming out of Friday.
Even though I didn't complete
Yeah,
it.
that's when I said that we had 90% completion. That means 90% of people who started the survey finished all the way.
But all the answers.
But even the 10% who didn't finish all the way, what they did.
Stays.
That's
Yes.
why I wanted to.
Yep, no, everything is fine.
Okay, sorry, what were you guys saying?
At what point do we like require that we have to see the application?
It's up to you guys if you guys want, I can have you get in there.
There are legal remedies we can pursue as well.
Understood with us, one more that's on that way, I guess. You can start going down that path.
My fear is that if we let it slip through, continue to slip through, I mean, anyone else that applies for a facility like
Does
that.
not, or does not.
Even if they do, they're gonna look at this one and say, hey, you built it without getting an application, why should I? You know, so I don't want it to feel like there's loose ended throughout the county or something like that.
Right, right.
Oh, honestly, it's probably, who knows if I broke ground that way. You know.
I would definitely, I don't know what the legal remedies are, or what timelines, but probably should start looking at something.
Legal remedies would essentially be misdemeanor charges and so forth. That's the legal remedies from our regulations.
Because we're going on a year now, last April.
The board obviously, I mean, if you guys could now do that in act up tonight, please. There's a particular time to say if we want that just time or less. No, speculation, approval, whatever you want to do, apply to this.
I'd say next meeting we're gonna have something more just to act on. I'm willing here to see the applications by, if we don't see it, have a date set where we would pursue to that next level.
So you want me to have the next meeting is something basically says an act on this one? Or discuss an act or not, or what would you like to have?
I'd say an application, like more or less.
Well, I would say that if we could act on the one that's in front of us now, and then discuss and probably act on migration.
I think you almost gotta have it all on board, because the one is encapsulating, showing that he's over the amount that he says he was. I mean, we can't really use that one for evidence on the one that's currently in front of us, you know, like it'd be nice to have Oldham there to say, because of this one being just out of compliance is why this one is excellent. I mean, for the landline.
Does the county board figure out this for grit?
Not until after, that's the way I understand it, right?
You know, on like,
We have to discuss that
Previous,
on it.
yeah, previous, you know, in violation, does the county board have to act to get this thing?
You mean like if we're looking at the criminal?
Yes.
I don't believe so. I'll go double check, but I don't believe so. I think it's just a attorney's office. There may be some ethical things where typically you can't, as a prosecutor, you cannot investigate and prosecute charge of crime. This might be a thing where sometimes an investigator, you have to have somebody else to prosecute it, but you could look at it on that.
Because like Hoffman's there, that fence, I'm guaranteeing is probably too close for them.
That is the fence and
The
the numbers.
fence or the numbers, yeah. But I don't think how far back you gotta move it, 12 feet.
Depending on what he has for numbers.
Quarter mile, yeah.
The one we were shown, I had 36,000 on last road foot, so it'd be quarter mile, the way I'm interpreting it.
Yeah, that's a paid on number, yes. That's a paid on number.
So no, I would definitely probably need to notify them. That you want to do an action on for them.
So, next meeting, 21st, tentatively?
Same time work, 5 to 1.
Yeah.
We're not going to work. Easter probably all wants to show.
And your bastard.
Oh, yeah.
So your motion for adjournment?
Aye, unless there's anything else. Any motion adjourned?
Make a motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
So have you, read through the whole thing?
No, I didn't know there was,
It just-
setting here is,
Just came over.
right, yeah.
No, my first impression was both warm and nice, and we were expecting that the equal protection argument is pretty much thrown out of the water. With prejudice. It's like, and it's a little more extreme on, even on the investing permit. They have investment, there's a term, investment backed expectations and sacrifice. And they really moderated that. So just because you do all this engineering and real property doesn't mean you got vested right. But they let the takings case, that, the idea that the regulation can take the use of private property without just compensation. But the at the very end, of the discussion, but in the conclusion, it says that takings depends on.
I need to shut this off.
Now, they should pay before you're down here, or she just.
There is an agreement.